not sure if you've noticed, we've really gotten into mountain biking over the last year here at Terradrift. I mean, apparently that is just what happens when you move to Northwest Arkansas, home of the mountain bike capital of the world. But we're like all in now, you know? So while we made more general bike and hike gear work for a while, think road biking helmets and hiking shorts, we were eager to start testing some gear that is designed specifically for MTB trails. In this case, the Sena M1 Evo mountain bike helmet, complete with the brand's famed mesh intercom. Now, we've tested some of Sena's intercom helmets before, namely the R1 Evo a few years ago, and more recently the brand's Pi intercom system that attaches to practically any helmet you already have. We loved both, namely because this tech, more than anything else we've ever tested, has changed the way we ride, or rather changed how much we enjoy riding, for the better. Because while we've always enjoyed cycling, it does tend to feel a bit like a solo sport, even if you're riding with somebody. By which I mean, if you can't ride side by side, which you rarely can, or should, the only times you can effectively communicate without screaming at the top of your lungs or repeating yourself 3 times or pretending you heard more than half of what your buddy just said is when you come to a full stop at a light or pull over to take a break. Which is a bummer if you're a social creature or like to ride with friends as a fun way to hang outside, or like us, tend to talk through decisions or discuss business plans while you spend time outside. What? We're the only ones discussing business plans while we ride? But regardless of what you would chat about while riding if you could, the truth is you just can't on most rides, which is why when we first tested Sena technology, we were blown away by how much we loved it. I mean, you can just chat with your fellow riders at normal speaking volume without looking over your shoulder to yell at them and risk accidentally running into a tree. It's beautiful. It makes riding feel more fun. To the point that when a friend visited recently and we went biking together but only had 2 Sena devices between the 3 of us, I was super annoyed that I couldn't communicate with her. I mean, like, super annoyed, it was stupid. But not just for social reasons, for practical ones too, because when you're mountain biking, it's super helpful to be able to let the person behind you know about obstacles that are coming up, or if you've fallen behind, or if there's another rider on the trail ahead. I've found it also helps alert other hikers and bikers to your presence, because they hear you coming when you're chatting all the time. They've also come in handy when I've been a bit farther behind or ahead of Josh when he wipes out, because I can hear it happen and let him know I'm coming to make sure he isn't hurt. Yes, this has happened multiple times. And no, he's never gotten seriously injured. Although the last wipeout did require super glue and butterfly closures. Always ride with a first aid kit, kids! So needless to say, having the ability to chat with your fellow riders is awesome. I'll never go back. And yes, from now on, I'm keeping at least 1 extra helmet handy for, you know, when friends visit. But let's talk about these M1 Evo helmets specifically. Honestly, I like the look of the M1 Evo better than the R1 Evos we tested a few years ago. These trail-ready versions just look sleeker and more aggressive, which I dig. They certainly look more at home on mountain bike trails, is what I'm saying. They also seem to fit better. I could never get the R1 to stay put on my tiny, misshapen noggin correctly, and I had to add extra padding inside to keep it from sliding around. On the M1 Evo, the adjustability is nice between the chin strap and these easy adjust sliders by the ears, and the adjustable fit system on the back that you can slide up and down and then tighten or loosen with just a twist. Too easy. Basically, it fits well and stays put, which is important because safety first, I guess. Right? Yeah, safety first. Staying on the subject of design, there are plenty of vent holes to keep things cool under there, a generous visor that does a great job at blocking glare and stays put better than on the M1 Evo, a safety light that you can turn off and on, and it comes in 3 colors: matte black, matte gray, and matte white. If you want more colors, I don't know, put some stickers on it. Personally, I like the matte neutrals. But let's talk about the functionality that you're almost definitely more interested in: the connectivity and intercom system. There are a few techie things you can do with this helmet. One is to connect your phone via Bluetooth and pipe music or map directions or audiobooks or whatever straight into the built-in speakers. And yes, this is a better option than wearing earbuds because earbuds also block ambient sounds, like sounds made by other cyclists on your tail, or hikers around the corner, or vehicular traffic. With speakers, you can better hear the sounds around you, but you can also use the speakers and the recessed mic to make phone calls. Rad, right? And yes, I've done it multiple times, and the person calling can't even tell that you're on a bike. That's how good the noise control system is. We found that at most, it sounded like there was a light breeze on the other end. But that noise control also works on the intercom when chatting with other riders, and it's pretty advanced. It's the one thing that was missing from the Sena Pi. The Pi still did an impressive job, but not quite to the same degree as the helmets. Even when speeding downhill on the street, we couldn't hear the wind rushing past the other rider's helmet. That means audio is always quite clear and cuts out way less than our now aging models of the R1 Evos. Plus, you can chat until you're about 0.5 miles apart. That's on unobstructed terrain, by the way. In the woods, you're gonna be looking at a bit less. Although the more riders using the tech, the farther it can reach, since it kind of works like a daisy chain. Another difference we're big fans of, the absence of the Hello Sena interface. On those first helmets, it was only mildly helpful to say hello Sena and give her directions. Firstly, because you had to remember very specific commands, and secondly, because multiple times a ride, she would mistake something you said for hello Sena and interrupt your conversation to ask you to say a command. I don't miss that feature, is all I'm saying. But everything else I love is still there. The simple 3-button functionality, the ability to connect to practically unlimited helmets via 9 different channels, and an app that lets you control everything from your phone, in case you forget what all the buttons do. Plus, the battery lasts for around 14 hours on average, give or take, which means I only have to charge it every couple of rides. Basically, it's a rad helmet with rad tech, and I never want to ride without it. It's not a budget item at $199 per helmet, but for something that has the potential to genuinely boost riding enjoyment, I mean, well worth it in my opinion. Of course, that, depends on you. Naturally, worth is highly subjective, but I think so. We'll put a link to the helmets in the description below, but before you go, ring that bell and hit subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming MTB content. We've got more clothing and gear reviews coming your way. And follow Terradrift on Insta, Facebook, and Twitter for, updates on what we're up to and where we're headed. And then check out even more MTB gear guides on terradrift.com. Then get on your bikes and ride. And, wander on 2 wheels while staying connected. And if you want to watch some of these other videos, you totally do that. Whee!